Have you ever felt like your home is too cluttered? Like you just have too much stuff? You're not alone. That's why today we're talking about 9 things you should definitely get rid of. Make sure to stay until the end because the last one will definitely surprise you. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jasmine and I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been living a minimalist lifestyle for more than 6 years now. Did you know that certain things in your home can stress you out without you even realizing it? What they are and more importantly, what you can do about them, that's what we'll discuss today. But first, let's start with the first item on the list. This is something you can definitely let go of. Broken items. A mug with a broken handle, an old phone that doesn't even turn on anymore, even if we wanted to use it, or that torn up handbag collection in the closet. Honestly, I really don't understand why we hold on to broken things. Maybe just because we don't think about it, but the truth is, these items take up a valuable space, and when space is tight, clutter is inevitable. So, get rid of broken stuff and create more room. That also applies to our next point. Unworn clothes. I'll fit into this dress again someday. This top was so expensive, I just can't get rid of it. Sounds familiar? I still catch myself thinking this way sometimes, but I'm getting better and have already decluttered a lot. One thing that helps me in stubborn cases, selling unworn clothes online. When I get even a little money back, it makes letting go so much easier, even if the item was originally expensive. I've also noticed that I have a handful of clothes I wear all the time, while others sit untouched in my closet all year round. And honestly, that bothers me now. Even simple tasks like organizing my closet or picking out an outfit become harder when my wardrobe is packed and chaotic. This realization is already a big step forward for a former shopping victim like me, and little by little my wardrobe is becoming slimmer and more functional. Before we move on to point number 3, which is something you most likely have at home as well, let me first reveal what things secretly stress us out. Have you ever heard of visual noise? This refers to things that are scattered around, don't match each other, and create visual clutter. This can be distracting and in the worst case, even affect our concentration. But there is something that quickly helps against visual noise and also brings more order to your home. To combat visual noise, use storage boxes and baskets. This way you can neatly store small items and make the best use of the available space. This instantly creates more order. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a trick to bring immediate order to your entire life as well? Maybe there is. More on this later. But first, let's move on to point number 3. Unused electronics. Be honest, how many old charging cables do you still have lying around? I used to have quite a few until recently. By now I've sorted out a lot, although I'm not completely done yet. There's still an old router sitting around. I should probably take care of that right after this video, and maybe you can start with your old cables. Before I tell you about point number 5, which is something most people don't even think about, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything in the future, and together we'll simplify your life. Expired beauty products. Did you know that expired self-tanner can turn you green? We definitely don't want that to happen, right? Most of the time, people overlook the fact that beauty products expire, and in the meantime, they clutter up our drawers. So get rid of everything you don't use anymore, or that isn't even good anymore. And just like that, your bathroom is more organized. Speaking of organization, earlier we talked about whether there's a trick to making your entire life a little more structured and clutter-free. Now I'll share my secret formula with you. Surprisingly, it has to do with something we've always been told the wrong way. It's about multitasking. Multitasking is often sold to us as a good thing. But is this really true? Recent studies suggest that multitasking doesn't actually work. When we try to do multiple things at once, either the quality of our work suffers or we take longer to complete tasks. It's like a computer running too many programs at the same time. If you want to make your daily life more structured, set priorities for each day. Pick 1 or 2 tasks you want to accomplish and forget about the rest. Now, let's move on to something that can bring quick relief. Books. Books are great because they take us to new worlds or help us grow beyond ourselves, but they can also take up a lot of space and storage. Luckily, there are several ways you can still enjoy books without accumulating too much clutter. Libraries and book exchange stations are a great way to get new books without commitment. At book exchange stations, you can get rid of books you no longer need. And ebooks can be a great alternative if there's a specific book you don't want to part with. Let's move on to the next point. This one used to be a big problem for me. Decorations. I used to be a real decoration addict, I admit it. Every Saturday I'd go to home decor stores and buy new things. But often the decorations didn't look as good at home as they did in the store. Does that sound familiar? There's a reason for that, and I'll reveal it in a moment. The best way to go about it is to get rid of excessive decor and focus on a few highlights. Too much decor makes dusting more difficult, and that's just annoying. And when decorations themselves get dusty, the whole beautification effect is ruined. At least that's how I see it. But first, let's move on to the next point. Kitchen stuff. Leftover lids without matching containers, or strange vegetable slicers that we were once sure we would definitely need. Maybe you have these things lying around in your kitchen too. Testing your patience daily. Let's be honest, digging through a drawer full of clutter, searching for the right lid among thousands of others that don't fit. That's frustrating, right? But it doesn't have to be that way. Make an end to it today. Get rid of the unnecessary stuff and keep only complete items that you actually use. And now I'll tell you why decorations often don't look as good as you imagined. Many people make the mistake of buying decorations impulsively. But if you don't have a dedicated space or specific plan for them, things get tricky. You end up placing them randomly, and they either don't stand out properly or don't really fit in. Decor works best as a standalone piece. It doesn't like to share the spotlight. When in doubt, buy fewer decorations and use them more intentionally. Now, let's move on to a point that especially affects your wallet. Subscriptions. Streaming services, gym memberships, apps, or magazines. It's easy to lose track of all the subscriptions we sign up for, but the costs can really add up. Take some time to check what you actually still need and free up some financial space. Now, let's get to the final point, one that might surprise you. I might need it someday. Have you ever had this thought, and did it stop you from throwing something away even though you haven't used it in ages? If so, I totally get it. But I don't let that thought hold me back anymore. In fact, it has never happened to me that I got rid of something and later regretted it or had to buy it again. Sure, there might be cases where that happens, and for expensive items, I would also think twice. But in most cases, this thought is just an emotional attachment. It's simply hard for us to let go. And before you click on another video, here's one last thought. What if the key to a happy life isn't owning more? If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and most importantly, come back next time. I'd love to see you again. Until then, all the best, Jasmine.